What the story, guys? Just how did you? Well, I waited a week and I was right. The Last of Us 2 came out and it's been absolutely glorious to how this whole thing has worked out. The bad reviews on Metacritic and the like have completely driven the mainstream media insane, who've been doing article after article defending this thing to the hilt. It's been hilarious. I'm reading articles in places like Forbes, for God's sake. Forbes has nothing to do with this, but there's still articles in there saying how this is all toxic fandom and how all the complaints are coming from all the usual elements. There was even one article I read, I can't remember what it was because I kept getting notifications from Google to check them out, and there was 572 replies from people basically kissing the ass of the guys who wrote it and says, oh well, I'll only ever listen to what you recommend. It's just hilarious. They're absolutely outraged at this pushback against this game. And now that the game's out, normies have got their hands on it. And they're starting to chime in on it. I mean, if memory serves now, Metacritic I think now has over 100,000 views and it's still only about 4.8, something like that. My view on the game, even if you hate it, I reckon would still be about a 5 or 6, just like Yellow Flash has said, simply on the mechanics ground. The idea that, like the texturing, the graphics, the sound engineering, all that sort of stuff, that gets factored into what you're going to score or something. So generally, if it's very well done on that front, it'll be at least a 5. So it's the story that's killing this one, and that's why I think it is around the 5-6 mark for this that it'll end up on in the end. I think the best thing for me was PewDiePie's reaction, because fair play to the guy, he seemed to have completely cut himself off from all the controversy that was going on, and when he was streaming, like, he seemed to generally not know what was going on when what happened to Joel happens to Joel. And when Abby gets smashed, to put it politely, that completely threw him too. Pewds loved the first one. I think he gave it like 9 out of 10 or something. I think he was giving out about the AI or something like that. On this one, I think he gave it a 6, saying that it just, I think it was the playability isn't there, and that, sorry, the replayability isn't there, and that just the game left such a bad taste in his mouth that he really didn't want to play it. When I heard that you had to play as Abby yourself, I thought it was only going to be a minor part. Apparently it's 10 hours. You're going to play 10 hours as Abby, and if you don't like her, tough. That's half the game. And I think that's what put an awful lot of people off. I think there was 100,000 people watching PewDiePie play his live stream, so that's a lot of people being influenced with what he's looking at. So his recommendation, I reckon, will have a big hit on this. On another angle, Druckmann has come out and said that he was actually responsible for trying to take down all these YouTubers who were commenting on the games and on the leaks, basically, and that they did kind of deliberately mislead people about what the game is being about by putting different skins in the ads for making you think that Joel was going to be more of a participant during the game with Abby instead of what actually happened. There's videos of that up on YouTube. You can just search it yourself and see what that looks like. The Japanese apparently hate it. They're flooding their own second market with it. There's like pages after page after pages of the Last of Us games up for resale. I believe Australia's prevented people giving it back in, but I don't know whether that's tied into what's going on with the virus. And watching Arcade's Outposts video tonight on it, it turns out there's an 80% drop off on the second week orders for the game. Now that to me makes this look an awful lot like the cinema. If you think about with the cinema, usually there's about a 50% drop off in the second week in terms of people, in terms of sales tickets. Like if you see 70, 80%, that's a flop in the making. Now this game has already made its money back. It's been most successful, I think, since Spider-Man came out to PS4. It's 4 million sales in the first week, so it's not going to knock that. But I think you're going to see, like I said, a Dishonored 2 type effect, a kind of a Mass Effect 3. You're going to see a big drop off. You can in future orders, because people know what they're getting now, and you're going to see a massive cut in the price of it. So the moral basically here is, if you do actually fancy this game, wait till you get it in CEX or Game or something on the second-hand market for like 20 quid or something. Because I think the backlash in this has only really started now. Because, like I said, it just comes down to the narrative. It's a story-driven game. It's not a mechanics-driven game. So it's not like a shoot-'em-up. It's not like a simulator. It's going to be a story-driven game. If you're not into that story, you're going to see an awful lot of people dump it quick. And word will get round that you really don't want to play this one. Like I said, though, it's just been enormously entertaining to see this last week and roll out as it did, because, I mean, they were seriously scared in Sony and Naughty Dog. They tried desperately to do everything they could to stop the word getting out for what the game was. They managed to get there great first week. I'd be interested to see now what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks, because I think the backlash of this one's only starting. And like I said, I mean, it'll still be a success in terms of sales, but I don't think it's going to be as good as the first in terms of what it does in the end. And I certainly don't think it's going to be held in the same regard as that one. So there you go, guys. Just a week after The Last of Us 2 has come out, just a recap on what's been happening in the last week. It's just been enormously entertaining. So keep an eye on this one. And like I said, if you like this video, like and subscribe, share if you want, and take care of yourselves.